All right, you heard the news at the top of the show that Obamacare is costing a little bit more than a lot of folks factored in. 25% premium increases might not be unusual next year. And for a lot of folks, that is triple the rate of increase we were seeing last year and the highest on record since it became law. Add that to the fact that a lot of employers have obligations on Obamacare down to the staffing, how many full-time workers they have, how many workers, period, they have, and then the demand for a higher minimum wage. Well, we had a couple of restaurateurs on here saying for them it's going to be costly. Sonic Chairman and CEO Cliff Hudson says not so fast. He joins us right now. Mr. Hudson, very good to have you.
Happy to be with you. Thank you.
What do you make of that concern that all of this is adding up, especially in a business like yours, and it could have a damaging effect? What do you say?
Well, I think these are some challenges that our industry will be facing, but the fact is we all face it at the same time. In other words, it's not a competitive disadvantage for one industry versus another, or one concept versus another. So to the extent that it's something we all confront, I'd rather have that kind of level playing field. Now, and one of the things that has occurred the last several years is a lot of our industry peers have been relying more on part-time help. That's been true on a increasing basis, according to the People Report.
Do you?
So I think this is, many of our operators have. Keep in mind our system is more than 90% franchise,
right.
So the average employee employed by our system is a smaller franchisee employee. So this are data we attempt to keep, but we don't have specific data on all of our franchisees' employees because of the independent nature of them.
Now, but so it comes at a time when it's not universal, but a number of states are pushing up sharply higher minimum wages. There's a push on the part of Hillary Clinton to effectively double the minimum wage to $15 an hour. I think you had been quoted as saying in the press, franchisees would adjust and make allowances for that. Would that include doubling the price of the food that they're offering?
Well, doubling, I don't know. That's quite a jump in a short period of time. But the fact is, over a period of time, there's no doubt over a period of time, and it doesn't mean immediate, but over a period of time, there's no doubt there'll be some adjustments, meaning price adjustments to deal with this. So it is a challenge. I think it's a challenge on the one hand for our employees that are looking for ways to increase their hourly income and their overall income. It's also a challenge for small business. I think this is a tension that is inevitable in small business, inevitable in our economy. And why is it an inevitable tension? Because we as employers are better off if our employees have more money in their pocket. And yet at the same time, as we've got to pay them more, that creates
a challenge and a tension. No, I understand that, but do you find that raising the minimum wage is one thing, doubling it is another? In other words, in your locales, let's say out in California, is it more pricey for those franchisees than it would be, let's say, in somewhere else?
Well, the answer is yes. Their cost of doing business is higher, and as labor runs up more quickly, it creates a bit of a challenge on a national basis from a national promotion standpoint. This is not something we're confronting in all of our markets. California and the West Coast is a little bit ahead of things from that standpoint. I think this is a broader challenge, though, that we as an industry have to be sensitive to and have to work as members of our communities to help address this. Over time, doing it rapidly can be very disruptive, but over time, I'm not sure it's something that we can easily ignore.
So let me ask you now, the latest earnings I have, I believe they cover the year ended August 31st. And that your system same-store sales fell about 2%. Same-store sales down 1.8%, a decrease at franchise drive-ins, decreased 3% at company drive-ins. Your drive-in margins down about 210 basis points. Were any of these other factors that I mentioned at play here?
Yeah, for the year ended August, and that's when our fiscal year ends, our comps were positive at 2.6%. The latter half of the year did get a little soft from a traffic standpoint.
And what caused that? Did any of these factors, like the healthcare stuff, the higher minimum wage in some markets?
Yeah. I cannot tell you that had an impact to the negative. To the extent that we had margin deterioration at our company stores, primarily two things. One, with the negative sales, you get some deleveraging anyway, so that's going to happen. Secondly, we've consciously made an effort as it relates to our management to begin compensating more aggressively. And so that was an election we made.
Compensating more aggressively?
That means raising pay. That's what it means. In the last year, for our assistant managers, we in our company stores have gone through a process of increasing pay. Now, the early part of the year, we had very nice positive sales increases, but as you know, from April forward, on a broad basis, retail, restaurants, there's a real traffic challenge.
And there is a limit to how much you can do to compensate, right? I mean, now, obviously, to pay for that, the underlying price of the product has to go up at least a little bit. Now, your customers are very loyal. They're very loyal. It's not like going to McDonald's or Burger King. So they're willing to pay a little more, I guess, but are they willing to pay potentially a lot more?
Yeah, I think the key here, to the extent that we are able to absorb this over time, is that it's done in stages over time.
Right.
But all of us as employers, I think, had to get more clever about the way we treat our employees, the offering we have to customers. It doesn't make things easier, but I think it is something that we are dealing with in many markets, and are going to have to deal with even more.
So regardless of who becomes president, it's a reality that's out there. Yeah,
well, one of the things we're confronting already is this occurring by municipality. In other words, not at a national level. Most of the adjustments that are occurring are at state and local levels.
You're right.
So this is
you wouldn't prefer a national federal $15 wage, would you?
Probably not. At least not at one step. But the fact is, allowing regional approaches to that is important. It is more expensive to live in a major urban area in California than it is in rural Texas, as an example. So
absolutely,
you address that differently.
Very good seeing you, Cliff Hudson, Sonic Corporation CEO. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity. Take care.
All right.